When I was at the CIA, both as an analyst and as an operations officer, one of the things that I hated the most was the United Nations General Assembly. It takes place every single year in September, and it brings the city to a screeching halt. My last tour in my CIA career was at the United Nations in New York. It's hard to even get within blocks of the U.S. mission to the United Nations. It's just ridiculous. And world leaders come from all over the planet to give speeches before the General Assembly. Well, the General Assembly, as it happens every year, is going to take place in September. It's also called UNGA, by the way. And these world leaders, like they do every year, are going to descend on New York. It's the Super Bowl for global politics. It's also a big deal in terms of global drama, where international leaders love to get the chance to stage on the world stage. You know, you go back and, in history, we're taught about Nikita Khrushchev pounding his shoe on the table at the General Assembly, or Fidel Castro giving a 6-hour speech, or Muammar Gaddafi coming and sleeping in a tent in Central Park because he wanted to be like one of the common people. Well, there's a major feud this year, and that's a feud between Benjamin Netanyahu and the mayor of New York, Zoran Mamdani. Mamdani has been very public in his statements over the past week or 10 days that he's going to try to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu when Netanyahu arrives in New York and turn him over to the International Criminal Court in The Hague. We've got a short clip of Mamdani talking about this.
Last question on this topic. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is perhaps planning to visit New York for the UN General Assembly. You pledged during your campaign and after you won to order his arrest to comply with the International Criminal Court warrant. What will happen if he comes in September?
Look, I believe that Prime Minister Netanyahu belongs in The Hague. He's a war criminal who has been charged by the International Criminal Court. And what you will find is that is an opinion that is held by many purely because of what his actions have wrought over these last many years. I've also said that I will follow the laws that we have here in New York City because I believe that there is an importance in following the law as a leader who presides over our city, and that's something that I plan to do.
Meaning? I'm sorry, I don't understand what that means.
Meaning that whatever the law allows me to do in New York City, that's what we will do, but we won't be writing our own laws to that end.
What does the law allow you to do?
That's an active conversation with our legal department in seeing what the prospects are we have here in our municipality. However, what we've seen at the national level is a desire sometimes to write your own laws, to go outside of the bounds of legality. That's not something we have an interest in.
I mean, normally when people come to a UN General Assembly, they're granted a sort of amnesty because it is the seat of the United Nations. Is that what you're thinking that you'll honor, or you're actively looking to see if you can actually arrest him?
I think we are looking at all of our legal obligations, and one of them is with regards to the United Nations. But the other part of this is we're not talking about a personal assessment of Benjamin Netanyahu. We're talking about the International Criminal Court and the fact that they have a warrant out for this prime minister's arrest. And I think it's important to talk about the weight that that has as a charge, and also that as the mayor of New York City, I'll be following the laws of New York City.
So Netanyahu fired back immediately at Mandani, saying this, quote, "The ICC, the International Criminal Court, is a kangaroo court that has no jurisdiction over Americans or Israelis. Its bogus arrest warrant against Prime Minister Netanyahu was issued by a disgraced former ICC prosecutor, Karim Khan, a few days before allegations of sexual misconduct against him became public. It was a clear attempt by Khan to divert public attention and seek protection from scrutiny." Unquote. All right, relax. The ICC is not a kangaroo court. The ICC is the International Criminal Court. The United States and Israel do not recognize the International Criminal Court and are not parties to what is called the Rome Convention. So, or the Rome Convention. So Mamdani's not going to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu. This is something that he's doing for his own political benefit. That's what politics is all about. Is Benjamin Netanyahu a war criminal? Of course he is. Should he go to the ICC? I believe that he should, but it's not going to happen. Then came another response, this one from Ambassador Mike Waltz, the U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations. He made several points in his comments. He said, Mayor Mandani, here's why your threat to arrest PM Netanyahu in New York City during UNGA is not going to happen. Number one, the U.S. is not a party to the Rome Statute that underlies the ICC. That's true. That's a shame, but it's true. Number two, the UN headquarters agreement grants diplomatic protections to visiting heads of government. Also true. Number three, head of state immunity applies. Also true. Number four, federal authority trumps any local mayor's wishes. Also true. He dismissed this as an episode of pure political theater, which it is. But it's something that should be in the public discourse. Americans should be talking about whether or not Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal. They should be talking about whether or not the Iran war is something that we should be involved in. They should be talking about the effects of Israeli involvement in American politics. I'm not even really going to point out the irony, the hypocrisy that Mike Waltz is saying head of state immunity applies to Netanyahu after the U.S. broke into Nicolas Maduro's home and kidnapped the Venezuelan president in the middle of the night and arrested him on drug charges. We can have that conversation at a later time. But he is correct that Netanyahu's arrest is not going to happen unless the U.S. president orders it. And if that were to ever happen, all hell would break loose.